Mr. Miller, my first question is for you. Iowa cattle producers tell me that during the first week of May this year, Tyson's was buying cattle from independent producers, wasn't buying cattle. With so few players in the market, that gives producers limited options. Noted in Mr. Shaman's testimony, and according to data from the National uh, Daily Cattle and Beef Summary Report at USDA, marketing service, on May 10th of this year, the choice box beef cutout was valued at more than $309 per hundredweight. At the same time, cattle producers struggled to break even, receiving average bids of approximately $118 per hundredweight. The gross package market, packer market, on the average steer weighing approximately 1,400 pounds, with a 63% dressing percentage, exceeded $1,000 per head. How do you justify making such low bids when you're turning such a significant profit?
So thank you for the question, Senator. First and foremost, as I said in my testimony, my oral testimony and the written testimony, we depend on independent cattle operations of all sizes, and we can't do without all of them. I don't know the specific date you referenced in May, what we were doing in the marketplace that day versus another day, but what we pay Iowa cattle feeders truly depends on the market conditions. But how they end up deciding to sell their cattle, whether they want to negotiate or put them on an AMA, is totally up to them. For instance, in the upper Midwest, a larger percentage of cattle feeders prefer to use cash basis as a method to sell their livestock. And as you go further into the South, they prefer the AMAs. So the AMAs guarantee a market for these specialized cattle, but they also ensure that the producer is compensated for the value that they add to the market. So in a long-winded answer, I guess, when you look at the AMAs versus a negotiated trade, the AMAs unlock value that the customer and ultimately the consumer are looking for.
I hope you know how depressing that is when you're not making money and packers are making $1,000 a head and the price of beef at the supermarket isn't down at all. Mr. Shellpepper, are independent producers who negotiate offered the same opportunities to market their cattle as large or corporate feedlots do through formula contracts? And would you be opposed to having the base price, premiums, and any discounts shared with the public?
Thank you for the question, Senator. We are active in the cash market every single day at JBS. In fact, in the state of Iowa, we have several buyers that are headquartered there. Again, active participants, are they offered the same price? Yes, they are, on a cash basis, on a day in, day out basis. Relative to publishing contract terms or some type of contract library, I would need to understand that. I understand there's dialogue in the industry about that. I would need to do more research on that and to learn more about that issue, Senator.
Without having that information, we don't have transparency, and those that negotiate every day on a daily basis don't know for sure what the price is. And so having that information available is very important to have the transparency that's necessary in the price discovery. Mr. Miller, producers in Iowa tell me they can't find bidders for their fed cattle, and it's a take it or leave it situation where they feel like price takers. And then producers are telling me the packer won't accept their cattle for delivery for several weeks. How do you defend this as an open and fair marketplace?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. I think the way that I would frame this up is, and if you rewind the tape here to some degree and you think about what we've all been navigating with COVID, I think, Senator, the best way to frame this up I think it simplifies it is taking 6 days worth of processing to get 5 days worth of cattle harvested and processed. So in a sense, our teams are working 6 days a week, virtually every week right now, to work through 5 days worth of harvest, our cattle that are harvested. We can out harvest, but we can't get them processed. So in a sense, what we're having to do is we're having to revert back to only being able to harvest and process what we know we can get through our plants. That's reducing our throughput through our facilities. On the other side of it, we do contract cattle in Iowa. The volumes vary, but they're mostly market driven. The cattle do have to be a specific type and kind to fill our customer specifications, but we do contract cattle in Iowa and we do bid on cattle in Iowa. In fact, we also go to the sale barns in the state of Iowa and negotiate. However, sale barn cattle are not included in the negotiated trade as livestock mandatory reporting is set up today. In fact, we do purchase and we do negotiate cattle at sale barns.
I'll yield at this point.
Senator